Thursday, Fort Benning in Columbus, Georgia, will officially be renamed Fort Moore. The name change in honor of the late Lieutenant General Harold Hal and Julia Moore for their meaningful and lasting contributions to our soldiers, the Army, and our nation. Now, Hal Moore's leadership and devotion to his troops lives on to this day. His loyalty penned in letters to his wife, like these, written back in November of 1965, surrounding the events that happened on LZ X-ray in the Idrang Valley.
He talks about how hard it was carrying his men out in ponchos, like to be loaded onto the helicopters to leave. And it's just, you can feel how much he cared about his men and everything that was happening.
Tomorrow night's event here in Huntsville, an evening in the Idrang Valley, will help raise money for two special places. One is the Army Heritage and Education Center in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, where you can find Hal Moore's papers and so much more.
The letters here make senior leaders human.
Inside this center is a whole new world devoted to engage, inspire, and inform not just the Army, but the American people. A place that brings history to life.
It's important because fewer people in our country have served in the military. And we need to connect and tell them what our soldiers have done and also the humanity of our leadership.
Mike Perry spent nearly 20 years promoting the history of the soldier.
This is the legacy of the service of everybody who served in the Army. Go back to June 14th, 1775, when the Continental Congress called on our nation to begin opposing British rule that led to our independence. We need to remind people of that long service.
A sentiment echoed by retired Army Colonel Tom Bossler.
So important we get the real history on the record for the American people, because that history defines our national character. People have to have an understanding. All this anxiety about who am I and that kind of thing. You've got to have an understanding of where we've come from as a people, which is going to help us understand where we're going as a people.
It's home to one of the largest collections of unit history in the country, a collection that changes lives.
Many people who come here are families trying to find out what their great-grandpa did, and eventually we're going to do great-grandpa and great-grandma.
A walk through this facility brings you a deeper understanding and appreciation for those who vowed to bravely serve and protect our freedoms.
For details on the Army Heritage Center, visit waytv.com. And while you're there, you can also watch our special, Unbroken, the Bonds Forged in the Idrang Valley, which features the veterans who will be in Huntsville tomorrow night. Coming up in our next half hour, we'll take a closer look at the other organization on the receiving end of this fundraising event.